how to find your photography niche, 10 top tips from me, Answery Bit. Hi, Rick here, creator and indeed all things at the splendid Photography Explained podcast. Episode 187 is all about finding your photography niche. Niche or niche, depending where you are. I got the horrible middle ground then, which I was worried about doing. Yeah, find your photography niche. Find one thing and become the best you can at it, if you want to. If you want to become the best photographer that you can, find one thing. Find your niche, your niche, and work at it. And here are 10 things that you can do to take you from the, I don't know, to this is my thing. This is my thing, and I'm doing it the best that I can. And I'm going to go through them now. Right. Number 1. Decide what you want photography to be to you. Is photography just a fun thing, a hobby? Are you happy doing that? Just mucking around with your camera and editing photos and all that good stuff? If that's the case, that's absolutely fine. If you just want to take snaps with your phone and you enjoy sharing them, again, that's absolutely fine. That's your business. And at the other end of the scale, if you want to make a full-time living from photography next week, well, not next week, next year, eh? Come on, let's get realistic about this. That's equally fine as well. So that's the two ends of the scale. And then you got that massive range in the middle, which is where most people probably sit. Wherever you are in that scale, everything that I tell you applies. The main difference will be the time, effort, money, intensity, hard work, personal effort, graft, how much you put into the things which I'm going to tell you in this video. If you're doing this for fun, continue at your leisure. If you want to quit your day job in 12 months, you've got to get on with it straight away, hit it hard and take it seriously. Where you want to get to will determine how much effort and time and expense and the rest of it you want to put into it. Okay, number 2. Consider anything you might ever possibly want to take photos of. To know what you want to take photos of, I suggest you think about anything possible and rule out the things you don't want to take photos of, because that's a good starting point, isn't it? And if you think of all the things that you could take photos of, there'll be things you haven't thought about, and there might be something in there that you think, actually, I quite fancy that. I've never thought about that. That sounds good. So think of anything and everything you could ever photograph and have a think about them and narrow it down to a few things. Number 3, choose a few things you enjoy. So you've had to think about everything you could ever photograph, and you've got a few things that are possibilities. Have a look at those things and choose a few, 2 or 3, whatever. Choose a few things that you think you'll enjoy and that you're interested in. It's very important. Don't go down the rabbit hole of photographing something you're not interested in. Don't start taking photos of something you don't like taking photos of. That is not a good plan. You need to enjoy what you're doing. It is much easier to take photos of something if you like doing it and you're interested in it. Me, I love taking photos of buildings. I love buildings, architecture and construction. So that's what I do. Number 4, can these things give you what you want out of your photography? If you want to make a living from photography, you're going to have to find something that you can continue to photograph. You need to be able to do this week in, week out, indefinitely. And that narrows things down quite nicely, doesn't it? If you want to be a wedding photographer, people are always going to get married, aren't you? If you want to be a building photographer, there's always going to be buildings, aren't there? So think about that. If you want to be a solar eclipse photographer, your choices are somewhat limited, aren't you? So you might want to think of a different niche. Okay, number 5, practice the things. This little list of things, practice them until one thing pops up as a favourite. Practice and you'll become better at things. Practice and you'll find out if you like doing something or not. And you won't know if you don't like doing something until you do it. So if you're not sure, have a go. If you don't enjoy it, ditch it. If you love it, stick with it. If you absolutely love it, bingo, you've got your one thing, haven't you? Happy days. Right, number 6, phone versus camera. Decision time. Yep, it's time. Now, obviously, your chosen path is going to influence this. If you're happy just using your phone and you haven't got any great ambitions to become the best photographer that you can be, absolutely fine. If you want to make a living from photography, you need a camera. A phone will not do. It just will not do. And yes, there are photographers who make a living from photography using phones, but there aren't many of them, and I'm not sure how they do it, to be honest with you. So you need a camera. But if you're making money taking photos for clients, you don't just need one camera. You need two cameras. You need two of everything. You need backup, so if something breaks, you've got another one. And that is an absolute. Okay? Yeah, one more thing I want to say on this. The thing I always worry about getting shot down on is this bold statement. You can take better photos with a camera than you can with a phone. There you go. I've said it. Done. Number 7. You found your one thing. Do it to the best of your ability. Go all in. Just do that one thing. Now, there's a point I want to make here. So you got your one thing and you're going for it. If you're just doing this for fun, that is not a barrier to you becoming the best photographer that you can be. That is not a barrier to you making the best photos ever. It's not a barrier. There's no ceiling to this. If you don't want to be a full-time photographer, it doesn't mean you can't be the best photographer in the world. No, it just means that you can do things at your own time and your own pace, and in some ways that's better. But if you need to make a living in 12 months' time, you've got to get on with it. And there's pressure with that. It's hard work. It really is. So, yep, you got your one thing. Just get on with it. Go all in. And then the next point, refine your image capture technique. As you practice, your photo taking style will change. How you take photos, how you approach taking photos, it'll change, it'll evolve, it'll refine the more and more you practice. I've been taking photographs of buildings for years now, and I got a very repetitive, some might say, approach to taking my photos. I take all my photos in the same way. I approach photographing a building the same way every time. And that's how I get consistency in my results. And consistency in my images from one set to the other is very important to me. And rather tragically, I do the same when I'm taking photos on holiday. Not my family on the beach. But no, if I'm doing serious travel photography or serious landscape photography, I work in exactly the same way. Number 9, refine your camera gear and settings. Different types of photography require different types of gear. I photograph buildings. They're not moving. My camera's on a tripod. I don't need fast lenses. So slower lens. Sorry, I hate the term fast lenses. Check out Stupid Photography Terms, previous episodes on the Photography Explained podcast where I cover these. I think they were episodes 168 to 170. Stupid Photography Terms. Check them out. Yeah, I don't need fast lenses. A maximum aperture f4, it's fine for me. f2.8 is just a bigger lens, more expensive, heavier, bulkier, and I don't need it. This is the point. If you're photographing everything and anything, you need all this gear, don't you? Only when you've got the one thing do you know which gear you really need, and you can get rid of all the other stuff that's just a distraction. 10, refine your processing. Again, it's the same point as the gear, really. You process certain images in certain ways, and I process my photographs of buildings in a very specific way, and it works for what I do. I'm going to move on from that. I was just about to go down an irrelevant rabbit hole. That's it. Whatever your aspirations, whatever you want photography to be for you, finding your photography niche, your one thing, it will help you to become the best photographer that you can be. And isn't that what we all want out of our photography? It is for me. And had I not done this, had I not gone down this road of photographing buildings, I wouldn't be a professionally qualified photographer. I wouldn't have been able to produce a portfolio to a high enough standard with a good enough set of images because I had all sorts of rubbish I was throwing in. So I'm going to stop there, find your one thing, find your niche, find your niche, and be the best you can at it. Right, I am done. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked this video, please leave a comment. Feel free to subscribe and check out the other stuff I've got on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Take care, stay safe. Cheers from me, Rick.